welcome back to my anime reviews. Basically, every week I'll try to watch an anime and then review it for you guys. Like I've said before, anime like One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, and such will probably not be reviewed as they're way too far in their story, and that takes a lot of effort for me to watch all those episodes. By the way, my friend Duty Haas in the back, he's probably going to be bothering me every once in a while in this review. You just ignore him. This review is in honor of Rooster Teeth's theatrical release of RWBY Volume 1. And so I thought, why not me review Volume 1? And I was like, wait a minute, I already reviewed Volume 1, so why not Volume 2? So that's what we're doing today. Basically, like I've said before, this anime can be watched in either a feature-length film style in about... the length is like an hour, 52 minutes, or you can watch it in 12 episode intervals, and I don't know what the times for each one is because they're really fumbly, but that's up to you to figure out yourself because that's not my job. Before we continue though, I made a mistake in my RWBY Volume 1 review. So the runtime is actually an hour and 14 minutes for RWBY Volume 1. I mixed the Volume 2 and Volume 1 time run, so I fixed, I'm just claiming that, yeah, I make mistakes too. I mean, deal with it. Like usual, I will only be explaining the most important points of this anime, like characters, story, settings, relationships, voice acting, animations, music in the genre. Always start with the genre here. It's an action, adventure, comedic drama, and some science fantasy there with a bit of school life in there, which isn't that much of importance. Now for the setting, it's the same as last season, so if you want a refresher, go watch my previous review of Volume 1, because I'm not going to go over it again. Same with the characters, I'm not going over all of them again. We are introduced to some really cool and important characters this season, but their importance isn't that important in Volume 2, and it becomes more important in Volume 3, so the main cast from the previous season is still the main cast for this season, so I'm not going over it again, because that takes a lot of effort. Now for the story. The season is opened up with RWBY's team starting their second semester at Beacon Academy. Their antics, accidents, fights, relationship problems, and all that shit. Yeah, basically, it's a setup season. Now for the animation. So obviously this anime is very different from normal traditional anime as it's styled in a like CGI kind of animation like in video games from like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts of some style. And oddly it really works really well. I didn't feel any big difference from last season to this season, so I still loved them. There was no big problem for me. Now for the voice actors. I'm like 90% sure that 90% of the voice actors for this show are actually people who work at Rooster Teeth. They do have some professional voice actors, but most of them are people who work at Rooster Teeth. That doesn't mean they didn't do a good job. I'm so surprised at how well they actually did as voice actors for this anime and how well they played their roles. And I'm pretty sure like a lot of them aren't really professionals, but I would I'd probably have a discussion about that, because in my opinion, I think they are somewhat professionals at this point. So, I like them a lot. Now for the music. The soundtrack is one of the most listened to of all the songs on my phone, ever since I've seen Season 2. I listened to so many of the songs from Season 2's soundtrack, it's ridiculous. Amazing work. Now for the rating part of these reviews. As a rating, I will split it up into 5 different categories: the voice acting, animation, story, characters, and overall enjoyability. And voice acting is always what we start with here, 20 out of 20. They were still amazing at their job, and I'm surprised how well they did for people who I'm pretty sure didn't do voice acting as their main thing. And I would argue now that they are somewhat professionals, which is crazy, but they're really good at it. Animation is 20 out of 20. At first, I didn't really know if these animations had grown on me yet, because I still had a little problem with them from Volume 1. But after watching Volume 2 again for this review as my second time, I feel as if these animations have definitely grown on me, and I'm glad this style exists, because you barely get to see something like this in a very good setting. Story, 15 out of 20. I mean, like, it was, how do I put it, dull? I mean, I've said this previously in this review, that this season was basically a setup season, which is why the story is pretty dull at some parts. Not all of the season, not all of the parts are dull, and I'm not saying that at all, but there are definitely more dull parts of this season than there were in Season 1. And I understand that it's for setting up. That's the idea. That's why they call it a setup season. It's just that some episodes are super fun, and then some are super interesting, and then there are a few episodes you just think to yourself, why am I watching this? I can just skip it to the next episode. It's what you get for being a setup season. Characters 20 out of 20. I loved everyone in this show. One big thing is that every team in RWBY has a motif of some sort. And I've explained this in previous review, so I'm not going to go too depth into it. But I'm still going to say, like, John is life. And so is Davis. John is my RWBY like Davis is my Digimon. They are gods. Enjoyability, 15 out of 20. Yeah, so like, watching this season for the first time was super cool and made me more invested in this series as a whole. But as I went to rewatch this season for fun, I would deliberately skip specific episodes I knew I wasn't going to have too much fun with because I wanted to see the cooler stuff. The rewatchability factor kills it a little bit, but it's not that big of a thing. I'm just pointing it out. I mean, that's what you get. Like I've said, that's what you get for being a setup season. Overall score, 90 out of 100, 90%. Setup seasons always get the shittier end of a roller coaster. An A grade for this anime. I hope you know the video. In the description there should be a link to watch it on Crunchyroll, on Rooster Teeth's site, and on Netflix as well. See you guys next time. It's gotta be maybe out.